Okay, we're officially live, streaming on YouTube, X, and the Discord. Looking at SPY and Triple Q right now. What's up, Tick Breezy? Good to see you. So, overall, red day on the markets. S&P down half of a percent. NASDAQ down a little over 1%. So, NASDAQ took the bigger hit. The Dow is kind of even, kind of flat today. VIX was up a little bit. 10-year yield down, and the dollar slightly green. But today we have CRWV reporting, Rocket Lab reporting, Mara's reporting. These are the three that I'm going to go over. But let's look and see about the other ones reporting. We got Dell reporting, SoundHound, Duolingo, Intuit, MP Materials, Rocket, that's Rocket Mortgage, Monster Beverage reporting. We got quite a few reporting today. But again, the three I'm going to focus on is CRWV, Rocket Lab, and then Mara down here. CRWV is supposed to report at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Forecast EPS negative 0.50. Forecast revenue 1.5 billion. Quick look at their annual chart here on Earnings Whispers. Trading just below $100. They closed the regular session at $97.63. Regular session is over. Closing bell just rang about a minute ago. What's up, Mad Maverick? Good to see you. So CRWV reports at 4:10 Eastern. About 9 more minutes. Rocket Lab is supposed to report at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Forecast EPS negative 0.05. Forecast revenue 177.9 million. They're trading around $70 right now. Rocket Lab closed the regular session at $72.65, up about 3.5% today. Had a nice buying pressure going into the close. And then Mara, I don't have an exact time for when Mara reports. Earnings Whispers just says after the close, so we'll see. But forecast EPS negative 0.23, forecast revenue 223 million. Full disclosure, I do have 225 shares of Mara right now, so we'll see. I've been running the wheel strategy on it and chipping away at my cost basis, so no worries. I've wheeled Mara many times in the past and have always made decent money on it. So let's go back here. So again, CRWV's at 4:10, Rocket Lab's at 4:15. So we got a little bit of time to burn. And again, Mara, not sure the exact time with them, but getting a little volatility on CRWV right now. Going into the earnings, they did have a negative EPS, negative 2.49, 313 million float. Just look at their income statement real quick. Yeah, so they've been having trouble pulling a positive net income, 5 back-to-back quarters of negative net income. But they're still trading right around $100, so obviously they got a big following. Debt to asset, 88%. And as of September 30th, they got almost $2 billion in cash and equivalents. So just waiting for the reaction. About another 7 minutes for CRWV. About another 10 or 12 minutes for Rocket Lab. And then again, Mara, I'm not quite sure the exact time there, but Rocket Lab, they also have a negative EPS, 525 million float. Income statement, they also haven't been able to pull a profit. 5 quarters in a row, they have negative net income. So still haven't pulled a positive net income yet in the past 5 quarters. Debt to asset on the balance sheet, 42%, so that's pretty good. And as of September 30th, they had 976 million in cash and equivalents. So, okay, here we go. We're getting some action here. Rocket Lab just printed a red candle. Don't think the data's out yet, so this is just like pre-earnings jitters here. Uh-oh, getting a move on Mara. Look at that. There we go. I wonder, I'm thinking maybe Mara just reported. We'll see. Candlesticks are jumping around right now. Got over 1,000 people tuning in. Welcome, everybody. Streaming on YouTube and X, and got a nice little group in the Discord. Good to see everyone. This is my last earnings stream of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. Okay, Rocket Lab. There's some buying coming in on Mara. Look at that. Up to almost $9. We'll see if it holds. Like I said, I've been doing the wheel strategy on Mara. I did sell some covered calls before the earnings just to give myself a little bit of a downside hedge. My average is low $8 on Mara. There we go. Mara just broke $9. Let's go. Rocket Lab getting some buying pressure right now as well. Obviously, I'm a little more interested in Mara because I have a few hundred shares of Mara. But when I sold those covered calls on Mara, I collected over, what did I get? Like $50 a contract or something? Let me double check. This was earlier today. Let me see. Yeah, I got $53 a contract on my Mara covered calls. Like I said, my average on Mara is low $8. I went ahead and sold the 9. And someone asked me earlier, you know, aren't you concerned if they get a positive reaction? Your covered calls are going to go red. No, I'm not concerned. When I open a covered call, I'm okay with my shares getting called away at that strike. I hear that time and time again. People open up covered calls and then the underlying stock rallies, and then they're all of a sudden they're upset that their covered calls are red. And to the untrained eye, they think they're losing money. But listen, when your broker shows you your covered call position, if the underlying stock rallies, that covered call will be red. Okay, it doesn't mean you're losing money. It means you're losing out on profit. So the covered call, when it's red because the underlying stock rallies, it's basically your broker just saying, hey, if we could go back in time and you never opened that covered call, here's the profit you're missing out on, which would be, you know, the covered call would be red, but that's your broker saying, hey, you know, this could be profit. So being red on a covered call is not a bad thing, especially if you trade the wheel strategy all the time. I don't care if my shares get called away because I know it's going to overall be a profitable trade, you know. Now, if it's a position you've had for several years and you're selling covered calls on it to generate some income, I can understand maybe you don't want your shares getting called away, okay? Because then that'll be, you know, you're going to lose your shares, you know, after having them for years, and that'll be a taxable event. But so maybe in that situation, I can understand. Okay, maybe you'd buy the covered call back and realize a loss on the covered call to keep your shares. But for me, when I'm wheeling stocks throughout the year, you know, some of my wheels last a month. Some of them last 3 to 6 months. You know, very rarely my wheels last over a year. So I'm already looking at the short-term capital gain tax. So I don't, if my shares get called away, so be it. I can always re-enter on a pullback. But look at CoreWeave. CoreWeave's taken a little bit of a hit. Really impressed with Mara. They're up at almost 9.30 a share now. But CoreWeave closed the regular session at $97.63. They are down about 6% in after hours right now, about $7 a share. Let me get the data on CoreWeave because I know a lot of people are probably here for CoreWeave. And get the EPS revenue, but wow, look at this beautiful positive reaction on Mara. I hope it holds. I know we're not supposed to use the word hope in trading, but you know, I have been wheeling it, and like I said, if my shares get called away at 9, I'm going to make some great money. I mean, the return I'm going to make on it, it's probably going to be like 20% return on capital. if my shares get called away. And that's because I was selling cash secured puts and collecting credit before I got assigned, and then I got some decent credit on the covered call. And comparing that to the buying power I put on hold, my return on capital will be exceptional if my shares get called away at 9. So I'm totally okay with that if that happens. Okay, CoreWeave. Let's see what their EPS and revenue. I know our friends over there at Wolf Financial probably posted a nice breakdown for us. Okay, so CoreWeave, they did beat the revenue forecast. The estimate was 1.54 billion, and they reported 1.57 billion. So they did beat that. However, there are some red flags. Just because they beat revenue, that's not the whole story. So earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation, they missed quite a bit on that. The estimate was 932 million, and that came in at 898 million. So big red check, a big red X there on that line item. Operating income for CoreWeave, the estimate was 139 million, around there. They only reported 88 million. So they totally bombed on the operating income. And of course, that's being reflected in the price action. And this is CoreWeave, the left side of my screen here. Big red 5-minute, or this is a 15-minute candle here. So earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation, they missed quite a bit on that. Operating income was a huge miss. I mean, let me just do the math on how much they missed the operating income. That's not good at all. The estimate was 139 million. They reported 88 million. So that's a $51 million miss, and 51 million divided by 932 million. I mean, they missed it by 5.5% on operating income. Excuse me, it's 139, and the estimate was 80, or what they reported was 88. So yeah, they missed by 51 million. Okay, by 139. Yeah, they missed it by 36%. Sorry about my clicking math issues over here. 36% miss on operating income. Investors aren't liking that at all. Adjusted net income, the estimate was that they were going to lose 258 million. They actually lost 284 million. So there's quite a few red flags on CoreWeave's earnings. The only positive thing I really see is they were able to beat the revenue estimate. Outside of that, everything else, from what I'm seeing, they missed, and on some fronts missed by quite a bit, specifically the operating income. So, but we can look at let's look at the daily chart on this thing. I'll put the volume profile on here. There we go. Let's take a look here. So, just kind of looking at the chart, CoreWeave's trading just under 93 bucks right now. According to the chart and the volume profile, these are the blue lines here for the volume profile. We do got a kind of like a pivot point here around 83 bucks a share. So, it's trading at 93 and some change right now. I'd be looking for support around 83 on CoreWeave. That's probably what I would be doing. But let's see if they form a bottom and end up going back up, because like I said, they did beat revenue. And CoreWeave is also seeking a $9 billion bank loan backed by its long-term compute deal with Meta. That was some info posted by my friend Shy on X, Shy Balor. So they're seeking a $9 billion bank loan backed by its long-term compute deal with Meta. Okay, let's find out when they're going to do their call, and then we're going to jump over to Rocket Lab, and then we're going to look at Mara, because Mara's trading above $9 now. They hit about $9.50 a share. Let me go back up real quick. I want to check one more thing on CoreWeave. We're going to find out when they're going to do their call. It's about 4:15 p.m. Got over 2,700 people tuning in. Nice turnout today. Good to see everybody. Hope everyone's been having a great week and everyone's been being safe out there and not panicking or anything like that. As long as you believe in your underlyings and your underlyings are good companies, it's going to be okay. All right. I know the market sold off a little bit today again. So, but let me, here's some commentary from CoreWeave's higher ups. This is from Michael Intrater, the chairman and CEO. He says 2025 was a defining year for CoreWeave as we became the fastest cloud in history to reach $5 billion in annual revenue. Demand continues to intensify as a broader set of customers adopt CoreWeave Cloud to run a diverse and growing set of workloads. The opportunity ahead is significant, and we are ready to capture it. And Volstagg on YouTube, how you doing? It says Duolingo getting hammered. Bot puts full port. All right. Hopefully it was maybe your smaller speculative account. But yeah, we'll take a look at Duolingo. I was kind of interested in what their reaction was going to be as well. I just feel like Duolingo, there's a lot of competition out there for that type of company. So they're really going to have to impress investors to get bids. But yeah, we'll take a look at that one in a little bit here. CoreWeave's CFO, Nitin Agrawal, Chief Financial Officer. They say this year's performance reflects disciplined execution against the strategy we outlined at our IPO to develop one of the largest AI cloud footprints in the world. And then they go on to say our revenue backlog grew to $66.8 billion, more than 4 times where we began the year, providing exceptional visibility as we scale into 2026 and beyond. CoreWeave is well positioned for sustained hypergrowth. So I kind of figured in the commentary that they dropped before the actual earnings web call that they kind of just talk about the bright things that may happen in the future, but they failed to talk about any of the red flags I saw. Like I said, they totally bombed it on in a bad way on operating income. That's probably the worst line item I can see. They missed operating income by 36%. Not good. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let me find out when they're going to do their call. Let's do that. And I'm going to post some things in the chat as far as the results go. Let me open up a little notepad real quick. Get this sorted and then I'll post it. Okay, let's see. I want to mainly focus on the operating income for CoreWeave as far as what I want to post in this comment. Hit undo, there we go. Okay, I'll post this in the comments on YouTube and on X and in the Discord. See if they let me. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, so this is on the bottom of my screen. That's really the summary of CoreWeave's earnings. Yes, they beat revenue, but total huge miss on operating income. Investors are not liking that at all. Let me post this in the Discord as well. Let me see. Yeah, Kenny in the Discord, swinging overnight is not ideal for options. No, I totally agree with that. I'm on the same page. If you do, not financial advice, but anytime that I trade through earnings like that, a naked option, it's a scratch off ticket. Figure out what you're okay with going to zero and take a gamble. That would be a true earnings lotto play. That's just me though. So Kenny on in Discord, I totally agree with you. Ninja says Dell. Faster, how's Duolingo doing? Yeah, let's look at that. Let me just get rid of Merritt just for a second, but that's the second or third person asked about Duolingo. So let's take a look. Let's see, here it is here, Duolingo. Okay, yeah, Duolingo getting hit pretty hard. They're down almost 22% in after hours. They closed the regular session at $117.45 a share. They were up 5% on the day. So at least that's something. So even though they're down 22% in after hours, I mean, you know, they kind of retraced a 5% percent gain of the day. So, I mean, let's just say time stopped right now. They're down 22%, but they were up 5% on the day. So really, they're only down like 17% from yesterday. But nonetheless, they are taking a bit of a hit here. Let's see what that is all about. Let me check that real quick. I got so many tabs open on my other screen over here. Just give me 1 second. DUOL. Let's find out what all the fuss is about as far as why they're getting a bad reaction. Investors aren't liking the earnings data. Okay, let's see here. So looks like they did beat revenue. Okay, they lowered the fiscal year guidance. Or I'm sorry, Q1 guidance for revenue. And they lowered it quite a bit. So Q1 2026 guidance for Duolingo, for those that were asking about Duolingo, the estimate for the revenue was 329 million. Now they're saying it's only going to be 300 million, and that's for bookings revenue. So that's a 10% haircut they just gave to the Q1 guidance. So that, I mean, sometimes that's all it takes, right? Now that's only Q1. But let's look at, okay, for fiscal year 2026 outlook for Duolingo. For fiscal year bookings, the estimate was $139 billion. Now they're saying it's only going to be 1.27 to 1.3. So not only did they reduce bookings revenue guidance for Q1 for Duolingo, they reduced it for the fiscal year. So, you know, I for the bulls, the Duolingo bulls out there, I'm not sure this is going to be a short-term pullback. Now, if they only reduce the guidance for Q1, yeah, maybe some short-term pain there. But they reduced the guidance for Q1 and the 2026 fiscal year. You know, so you got to wait, look at the bigger time frame charts, and wait for a bottom to come in. They're trading at 91 bucks a share right now. Let me go weekly chart. And let's see here. It's a little bit of demand here around 80, 85, like the mid 80s. I'll put a horizontal line there right now. I'm just basing it off of price action and stuff like that. So I'll put it probably around 86 bucks, mid 80s. It could be a range, 85, 86 bucks around there. Duolingo's trading at $91 in after hours right now. So I'd be looking around the mid 80s, maybe for some support. If that doesn't hold, this is the weekly chart, so these levels are solid. 85 or 65. You know, if 85 doesn't hold, it could come down to 65. That's where the last demand was. So overall, you know, I think Duolingo will be okay. You know, there's a reason why they were trading up here in the hundreds. But if it was me and I already had a position, you know, maybe it could be looked at as somewhat of a discount, but I'd be looking at mid 80s. If that doesn't hold, super duper discount in the mid 60s. And also for anyone that had a position in Duolingo going into the earnings, you could have probably put a collar trade on this to protect the downside. I know it's easy talking about it in hindsight, but I'm just saying moving forward, okay? If you took a hit on Duolingo, use this as a learning experience, okay? Moving forward, for every 100 shares you have of the company, you could have put a collar trade on this, which basically means, assuming you're average per share was lower than what the underlying stock price was trading for when you go to open the covered call. But let's just say, for example, you could sell this 118 covered call. That thing's selling for like $775. That you would have collected that as a credit. And then what you do to completely cap your downside through intrinsic value of the strike price is you take the credit you received on the 118 covered call, use that credit to purchase a naked put option. This 117 strike right here. It's only selling for $750. So the credit on that 118 would have totally covered the cost of your naked put. And then, of course, this expiration is for Friday. So this collar trade would only be intact until Friday. But you could always add more time to it and stuff like that. I'm just trying to explain the math behind it. But if you take the credit from the 118 covered call, use that to buy the naked put, you just actually got a free hedge trade. It didn't cost you any out-of-pocket money because you used credit from the covered call to pay for it. That's how you put a free hedge trade in for yourself. Now, again, you got to have 100 shares. Every 100 shares, you can do one lot size collar. But with that right there, you would not have participated in any of the downside below 117. That's how collars work. Okay. So anyways, just wanted to go over Duolingo a little bit. But yeah, I'd be, it's looking like it may be trying to bottom. I mean, this is a 5-minute chart here. I'm not too confident the bottom's in yet. We need to see some, some nice green candle prints come up here. Obviously, the earnings data was just released, so I'm just looking at the 5-minute chart here in post market. But maybe there's a bottom around $90. That's kind of where it bounced from. I mean, I wouldn't even call this a bounce. It's just there's a little bit of buying coming in right now, right above 90. So we'll see. But yeah, don't panic. I think Duolingo will be fine. Just try not to catch a falling knife. And this could be looked at as a discount for investors that had position going into this earnings. But moving forward, especially if you have an open position and it's already green and there's an earnings catalyst, you got to start protecting yourself. And the easiest way to do that is a collar trade. Okay. So CoreWeave, already posted the data for CoreWeave. Again, just summary on CoreWeave. Now, Tammy says, what do you think, Ben, on Duolingo? Maybe people are using AI to learn languages now. Yeah, I mean, that could be it too. I mean, AI is just, the question mark as far as, what kind of companies are they going to take out? What kind of jobs are they going to take out? I mean, we've got a pretty good idea of what kind of jobs they're probably going to take out initially, and that's going to be a lot of the call center stuff and customer service representatives and stuff like that. But yeah, Timmy, that's a good point. So CoreWeave, let's find out when they're going to do their call. That's like the third time I've been trying to do this, but I keep getting sidetracked. Let me just get that info for everyone real quick, and maybe it'll save some people some time of looking it up themselves. All right, so let's just look. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, there we go. CoreWeave. All right, let's take a look. I'll leave the price on the left side of my screen over here. Here's let me post this link. This is the link to their investor relations site. Post it in here. There we go. And if you want to deeper dive into the earnings, here's their press release. This commentary here, I kind of already went over. Again, the higher ups are kind of just talking about the positive stuff, but they're failing to talk about why they missed operating income by 36%. I'm thinking investors are probably going to want more clarity on that when they go to do the call, don't you think? So anyways, if you go to that link I put in the comments, you can go through this press release. But their earnings web call, live web call is at 5 p.m. Eastern. So about 30 more minutes for that. 30 more minutes for that, okay? And that's for the CoreWeave investors out there. My buddy Volstagg said he bought puts on Duolingo. So looking like you're going to wake up to a nice present in the morning there, Volstagg. I think it's safe to say congrats to anyone that got puts on CoreWeave because, like I said, not only did they lower the Q1 bookings guidance, but they lowered the 2026 fiscal year guidance. So I'm just not sure if this is going to be a short-term pullback or not. You know, then Duolingo needs to clarify some things on their earnings call to give investors back some confidence. So anyways, CRWV going to do their call at 5 p.m. Eastern. Links in the comments. Let's go to Rocket Lab. We haven't talked about them yet. Good old Rocket Lab. It's about 4:30, so I know their data's out. Let me go to my latest source page here. So Rocket Lab posted a strong Q4 double beat, but despite the double beat, the stock is down. And from what I'm seeing, why the stock is it's down about 3% in the post market here. It's looking like there's a delay in Neutron. So those familiar with Rocket Lab, you probably know what that is. So there is a delay in the Neutron. Financially, the company looks fine. They did post record quarterly revenues, and they grew the order backlog. Let's just see here. So for Rocket Lab and that Neutron, for those that don't know, that's one of their rockets. It's a medium lift rocket. It's delayed. And it got delayed because of a tank test failure. And now they're not going to be able to debut Neutron until late this year, is what they're saying. So Rocket Lab, I mean, it's not getting hammered. It's only down like a little over $2 a share. So financially, Rocket Lab looks fine. It's the delay of their medium lift rocket Neutron has been delayed to the end of 2026. So that's why there's no buying going on right now, because things are getting pushed back. Let me as far as their Neutron rocket goes. We find a few more things on Rocket Lab here. Rocket Lab also missed the EPS consensus by 2 cents. So just a small miss. Let me see. And they did miss revenue, it looks like. And then again, well, actually here, let me see. I'm getting mixed data here. I'm showing they beat revenue and beat EPS. Maybe it's the adjusted that they missed, but again, the main takeaway with Rocket Lab is their rocket Neutron's been delayed to the end of the year. Okay, now their annual revenue is up 38% year over year, so that's good, and the backlog is up 73% year over year. But they're talking about the first launch for the Neutron rocket won't be until Q4. Okay. Let's see here. So let me post this data here. Put this in the comments for everybody. This is regarding Rocket Lab. And then we're going to go back to Mara, because I currently have a position in Mara. Let me just post this here. So actually Rocket Lab did double beat. But it doesn't look like it means much to investors that they double beat, because they had to delay the rocket launch to the end of the year. So there's some information about Rocket Lab I posted in the Discord and in the comments on YouTube and X. Duolingo, still trying to find the bottom. I mean, it did successfully print the small little 5 green minute candle, but that candle is just not big enough for me to have a lot of confidence that the bottom's in. But hey, maybe $90 could be the bottom on Duolingo. We'll see. If 90 doesn't hold, I'd be looking for around 85. And if 85 doesn't hold, whew, I don't know. That thing could retrace back to the 60s, maybe. We'll see. But I'm gonna go to Mara. Let's see if their move held up. Hell yeah, their move held up. Mara just tapped $10. So they just tapped $10 3 cents. It's looking like a grats to the Mara Bulls. Wow, look at that. That's great. That's great. They're up 17% now. And there was another cryptocurrency company the other day that beat earnings and had a real nice reaction too. So that kind of goes in line here. But let me go to Mara. I know there was quite a few people in the Discord trading Mara with me. So I'm sure everyone in my coaching group has got to be pretty happy that Mara is catching a bit of a bid here. It's up 17% in post-market. Amazing. I love it. Let's go. All right, I want to find some more details on Mara. And let's find out what all the fuss is about, the positive fuss. Let's see, Mara contributes its existing power-rich sites and has the option to own up to 50% of every project. Wow, that's pretty good. Let's see right here. I want to find some more stuff. Mara partnered with the $150 billion company for AI. They have a deal with Exion and MPLX. And they are the largest Bitcoin holder from miners. Okay. And also Mara's short interest was around 29%. This could be short squeeze territory here, folks. We'll see. It's still up just under 16%. We'll see the price action tomorrow, but so Marathon Digital announced a partnership with Starwood Capital Group to develop AI data centers. So not only is Mara, a Bitcoin miner, they're getting involved in the AI data center business. I love that. I love that for them. I've been trading Mara for years. I've probably run the wheel strategy on it for probably like over 10 times in the past 2-3 years. And I've always come out smelling like roses anytime once the wheel fully rotates and my shares get called away. It's always great profit, great money maker. It's been to me over the years, but very excited for Mara partnering with Starwood Capital Group to develop AI data centers. Amazing. I love it. I love it. That's the big news with Mara. Okay. They're getting in the AI data center game. They're going to accelerate delivery of cutting-edge hyperscale enterprise and AI-capable digital infrastructure. That's a huge partnership for Mara. So anyone that's been holding Mara, I'll just go to the daily chart here. Anyone that's been holding Mara, we all know Mara's been getting its butt kicked ever since October of last year when they were trading in the 20s. October to November, December, January, February. It's been 4 months of pain for this stock. It made a little, a few attempts to maybe reverse, but just couldn't quite push it through. I think this is the official reversal for Mara. I really do. And for those that were holding strong with diamond hands, if you will, like I said, full disclosure, I own shares of Mara. Actually own shares of Mara on 2 accounts. One of my accounts, my cost basis is around low 9s. And then on one of my other brokerages, I got an average in the low 8s. So it looks like both of my Mara positions are going to be just fine. Mara's getting into the AI data center industry or business, if you will. They partnered with a huge company, Starwood Digital Ventures is the name of the company, and it's looking really like a bright future for Mara after they've just been getting pounded into the sand. Earlier this month they fell below 7. They were trading. Look at that, 666. What's that all about? Look at that. They hit 666 on February 5th. Yeah, there's been holding relatively stable since that happened, but Congrats to anyone that's been bottom feeding on Mara. I know I have. The last batch of shares I bought on Mara was in the $7 range. So that batch of shares should be doing pretty well by tomorrow morning. And Mara seems to be holding up quite well. They're still trading above 950, still up about 13.5%. So we'll see what the price action does for the remainder of post-market and into pre-market tomorrow. All right, so we got our reactions on all three of these. Again, just to summarize, CRWV missed operating income by 36%. Investors are not liking that at all. CRWV does their earnings web call in 20 minutes. Links in the description. Oh, my buddy Rudel on YouTube. Go, Mara, go. Hell yeah, brother. I know you've been trading that one with me lately. We've just been writing, using our shares as collateral to write covered call contracts, collecting income as much as we can. I know sometimes the premium on the covered call side dries up. But hey, if you can at least get $10 a contract and you're doing multiple contracts, I think it's worth it. And of course, make sure your strike on your covered calls above your cost basis, and you'll be just fine. Look at the okay. So we went over Duolingo. Ninja mentioned Dell. Let's just take a look at Dell real quick. Are they getting hit? No, Dell had a positive reaction. Look at that. Dell's up 10%. I mean, big company, huge company. Dell's not going anywhere. They closed the regular session $121.45. Trading here in after hours at around 134. They're up over 10%. Looking like a grats to the Dell Bulls. You'd think if it was going to reverse, it'd probably do that by now. And that's what we see with the earnings reactions. Like sometimes the first move isn't the real move, but it usually will reverse pretty quickly if it's going to reverse. Dell seems to be holding up okay, pretty good. Probably retrace maybe 25%. It's probably sitting right around 25%. Let's see where it's at. Yeah, it's right around there. This is 23%. So I guess I can just probably change this to 25. There we go. Yep, it's right there around 25% retrace. 134.50 a share for Dell. Let's see if it can hold there. If it holds there, I'm pretty confident it'll come up and test post-market high here. It's 4-minute low. Well, it's kind of a doji candle right now, but let's see, 134.5 on Dell. That's my S1. S2, the golden ratio, 128.50. For the bulls, we just want it to hold above there, and this thing will be just fine. Okay. Mara's still holding up. I love that. And again, CRWV, we already know what's going on with them, but yeah, what a great turnout for this earnings stream. Over 3,000 people tuning in. For those that don't know, my name's TheSwingingBull. The Discord's name is PB Alerts. I did open up an interesting trade today. I wanted to go over with everybody. I might get some hate for this, but I opened up a $175 strike price cash secured put on NVIDIA today. NVIDIA, in my opinion, had great earnings. They broke records. They broke revenue records. I think their earnings were great. This is totally an overreaction. One would go as far to say that the positive earnings data was already priced in. I get it. Okay, I get it. But you best believe NVIDIA is going to be just fine, and they're still leading the AI charge. Okay, so for me, I sold the 175 cash secured put for March 20th. Let me double check that. Just trying to give up. This is not financial advice. I'm just letting you know the trade that I did. Yeah, March 20th, and I collected a $440 credit on that bad boy. So, which means if my strike was 175 and I collected $440 on it, if I get assigned at 175, my average is only going to be 170 and some change. I'll be more than happy wheeling the heck out of NVIDIA at 170. This thing was recently above 200 back in November. They've kind of just been a bit choppy, since then. Basically for most of this year, it's just been a lot of choppiness. Price keeps going under the EMAs and then above the EMAs, then under, then above. Not really a clear trend on the video. But I think once the bottom, I think, that's mainly due to the anticipation of this earnings announcement that they had yesterday. Now that that's out of the way, it's printing this big red candle. I really do believe NVIDIA investors are looking at this big red candle from earnings as a discount. I'm personally taking advantage of it. And like I said, I sold to open the 175 strike for March 20th. I paid $440 a contract. I just did one contract because the strike price times 100 is how much buying power you need. So if you write a put contract and you're on the selling side of the opening transaction at the 175 strike times 100, I did this on my Schwab account. I got a bit more money in there than I do my Fidelity account, but this is tying up $17,500 for that cash secured put. I could have converted it to a spread, like a put credit spread, and maybe done something like that, but that would eat into the credit I received, the 440 credit, and I don't think I need to do a spread for protection on NVIDIA. I'm fine just going, with the cash secured put and just willing myself out of it if I have to. But $17,500 buying power. But if you collect $440 credit for each contract, that's a decent payday, in my opinion. That's a 2.5% return on capital in only 3 weeks. That's a great return. 2.5% in 3 weeks. I mean, if there's 52 weeks in a year divided by 3, so let's just say you could do that 17 times a year. I'm just trying to get the annualized rate of return, which we call the ARR. If you're getting 2.5% in 3 weeks, the ARR on that is 42% annual rate of return. So absolutely, I'm okay with that credit received on that. I like doing the math on the ARR to kind of help me justify if the return on capital is worth it. And absolutely, this NVIDIA trade is worth it for me. All right. And if I get assigned at 175, my cost basis is only going to be like $170. And then I'll just turn around and start slanging a covered call on it, cycle after cycle, rinse and repeat, probably bringing in $400 to $600 every time I do a cycle. I'm okay with that. That's a nice cash flow coming in every few weeks or a month, So anyways, just want to go over that NVIDIA trade. I opened that up this afternoon. But yeah, my name's TheSwingingBull. This is the last earnings stream of the week. Again, thanks for everyone coming out. I feel very loved. Over 3,000 people in the stream. But I've been doing these streams for a while now, maybe over a year. And I guess people are really liking it. And I'm not really here to sell anything to anyone. If anything, I like giving away free stuff. And matter of fact, if you want a watch list in the morning, it's basically 4 high probability trade setups sent to your inbox every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Check that first link in the description. Completely free, doesn't cost anything, and people are really loving those daily watch lists that we put out there for everyone. And then, of course, if you're looking for a new home, a new community, a new supportive community, which we very, very much are, check the links in the description. You can join the free Discord and see how you like it and go from there. And if you do join the free section, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. We could chat for a little bit. Maybe there's something I can help you out with right away. You never know. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed. I had a lot of fun on this stream. And until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers, y'all. Bye.